Hi everyone, this is Daria Piano. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video topic is releasing our muscles, releasing our fingers after they strike the key. In my previous videos, I've already mentioned the way we make the sound and the way we strike the key, the way the attack happens and how to prepare an attack. But today's focus is on how to release. For those of you who do not want to watch the intro, feel free to jump right into the exercises where I'm going to bring a close-up of my hands. I haven't been posting for a while, I do apologize. I've been very busy with lots of projects and schoolwork as well. So I am unable to edit a lot of videos that I have previously made for you because of the lack of time. But I've decided that I still want to post something that would be of use for you and that will not involve so much editing. So it's kind of a free improv right now. I decided that this is a topic of importance and something that I've been working on with my students today. So I figured, I'm gonna do this for my channel because it's extremely important to cover this, and I believe that most of the time it goes unmentioned. But the importance of release cannot be overemphasized, because without the release we will have tension and we will not have free flow of weight between notes. As I said, piano playing can be described in simply two words: weight transfer. But something that is as important as transferring weight is releasing. A simple way to show this would be we press the note, we have a prepare. I'm going to exaggerate a little bit with the left hand. We prepare, finger, we strike, we release. How do I know it's relaxed? How do I know I released? I can just simply do this and check. Is my finger falling on its own? Actively? Yeah. And I have talked about release on macro scale because of the wrist release, right? So how we release the weight of our hand using lifting our wrist up, like this. It's more of a macro scale. We can release a group of notes like that or one, it doesn't matter. But for this video, I'm focusing on micro release. This mastery of micro contraction and release is really what makes piano players good. When we can control this motion of contraction and release, no matter how fast the notes go, if they go like this or very slowly, this control of contraction and release gives us ease of playing and gives us exactly the results that we want to achieve with our action, our muscles. And look, I don't need to release the wrist and go up in order to release each of my fingers individually, right? I can simply release the fingers. Yeah, they release, yes. Because without this, I will build up tension. And if I don't release the tension, then I won't be able to play anymore, because it's going to be all here. And your hand will feel like it's made out of iron and it hurts and you can't play anymore. It's because you are not used to control that micro release. Now I'm going to show you a few ways how you can teach yourself to pay attention to the release point and a few exercises that you can do. Making a sound on the piano includes 3 stages. First is preparation. I can exaggerate by lifting my finger high or not lifting at all, but you know that I'm preparing my finger for the strike. Second is attack, when I actually press the key. And third is release. And here we will focus on the third stage, on releasing. The simplest exercise is to play staccato. We strike quickly and release as soon as possible. And I'm going to use the pattern of hand-on exercise number 1, but it really doesn't matter which pattern you use. Choose something that you feel comfortable with, and for 5 fingers, so each of the fingers gets a turn. Starting with 1, release, release, prepare, strike, release. We can even exaggerate this by releasing much higher. right now I'm including a larger, more macro scale release when I release my hand by lifting my wrist up. And I've talked about this type of release in my previous videos. You can feel free to watch the fundamentals of piano playing. There I mentioned a lot of things about the wrist, or simply the wrist movement videos. But this video is more about individual finger release, which is the micro scale release, which needs to be mastered. So focusing again, without including the larger wrist release, so you can see that I can release my fingers regardless of whether or not I'm releasing my wrist. So what you should, 1, I'm helping a little bit with the wrist, but I'm not doing like this. This is too much, right? Slightly. Everything works together as a unit in the hand, so you don't have to necessarily avoid the connection between release of the wrist and release of the finger, but you have to understand the finger can do it separately. How can I check whether or not my finger has released the weight? Simply by trying to do this. If my finger lets go, then it means it's released, right? It's like the arm weight dropping, right? So let's say I'm holding this finger and I'm going to check, is any other finger involved in making this action, or are they all relaxed? So this guy obviously is doing something. Let's check all the other fingers. Here, checking. Easier for me to check this one, right? What I see very often with beginner students is some sort of tension in the fingers when you supposedly release it. For example, something like this. If your hand is doing this, if your finger is doing this, is he relaxed? Is it relaxed? No. Because I can't, it's resisting me, right? So it's doing something in order to remain in this position. You want to avoid that. Simply, now, yeah, drop. See? All of it. It's relaxed. Same thing here. Or when you play, you can simply see it when you have something like this happening. I'm playing with this finger, and yet this finger is out, this finger is out. That means they're definitely tense. They're doing something. How do I check? Relax. Relax. Now everything's fine. The hand holds the position, the dome position where the knuckles create the dome where it holds the strength of your fingers right here. It's where the strength of your fingers come from this joint. But this is fine. You can hold this without any of the fingers being involved in the action right away, right? They can prepare, they relax. As soon as I need to prepare, I involve this, and then I strike, and then I release again. Need to check. Staccato is just easier because you release faster. It's very active release. That's why I find this exercise to be good. Another version is to hold one finger while other fingers will play staccato one by one. We're gonna hold thumb, same pattern. Other fingers are relaxed, making sure, yeah, everything good. Hand remains in position, but fingers are relaxed except the thumb that is playing. Now we're gonna prepare the 2, strike and release. Checking. Released? Yes, one more time. Right? If you have this, it didn't release, right? No. There we go. Release, right? Now 3, prepare, strike, release. Same thing, checking. 4. So for 4, because it's so weak, it's okay. Even for me, you can see that I'm engaging when preparing. These 2 fingers are very closely attached. It's hard to separate the motion of the 4 without really including the 5, so that's okay. Don't worry about that. If you have this, then this is not relaxed, this is not relaxed. You want to get this. Then back into initial position. 5. Same. This does not relax the finger. You need to go. Yeah. Holding here, you can hold the pinky. Right? And so on. When you play legato, it is a little bit more difficult because you have an overlap of release action of one finger and the strike action, and first of all prepare and strike of the next finger. And then this one has to release. So I'm going to demonstrate with two different hands what is actually happening. So this hand, let's say this finger, is down. The attack has happened, the preparation has happened, attack has happened, but the release did not happen. And if we want this to be very smooth legato with the next note, we need to wait for the release for this note to strike. So what is going to happen? This is now down. Now, as I'm preparing for this and as I strike, this finger needs to lift, right? He needs to relax, but this one needs to engage. Prepare, strike, and release at the same time. So you're doing almost three things. Well, prepare is before. So prepare practically happens right before, and then you strike and release at the same time. This is why a true legato is not so easy to achieve, and that's why we start with non-legato by striking and releasing separate notes, and then we strike staccato, and then we try legato. So legato, I'm preparing, I'm making sure that these are relaxed, right? If you notice, again, something like this happening, which is very common, this did not relax, this did not relax, this did not relax, you are holding the tension and you won't be able to play for too long, because imagine you have to play a scale. If you don't release, by the time you get to this note, you're gonna have a hand made out of iron. It's gonna feel extremely heavy, tense, and it's gonna hurt, and you won't be able to play anymore. So you need to know how to release quickly while you engage other fingers. That means includes independence of fingers. Each of them can do their own job regardless of what their friends are doing. Sorry, I just finished teaching kids for the day, so using some vocabulary for kids. So basically, you got it. Two main reasons why it's so important to make that micro release happen. One is because you want to achieve the smooth weight transfer, you want to make sure that each note gets weight, full weight, right? You need to make sure you're distributing the weight between the fingers equally for a single note, right? If you need to play a double note and you need to voice it, it's slightly different. We're not going to get there. It's just a very simple one version. And secondly, release is very important and unavoidable to avoid tension, just like I mentioned about the scale. You need to make sure you are free of tension for each note, next note, right? So actively thinking about releasing fingers and checking yourself. This is exercise for flexibility of the thumb from the Russian method book. And it's very similar, but I'm going to show you a little bit what happens here. What am I doing here? I'm combining two notes, striking, right? And then the next note happens. Now, while I strike, while this is down, I am preparing. So I have some contraction of muscles involved into preparation. And as soon as I do this is involved already. So why is it micro scale? Because at some point there is release, but it's so quick that it moves so quickly. It has to happen in a microsecond. I release, technically I release, and then I move. It's like a two-step process. Release and quickly contract and move again. So that quick release, contract, this is what you need to really master to improve your flexibility, your technique, your independence of fingers, and everything else. So it's this process of release and contract again. I'm gonna do it slow motion. See if you can do it. Okay, release. I'm gonna release the thumb. Release first for a millisecond. It's very relaxed, and then I'm gonna this is already engaged, right? So relax, yes, and then relax, and then I'm gonna show this from the top. It's easier. One exercise is this one.
also from the Russian method book. And I'm going to do it staccato to make sure that I'm releasing before I play the next note. And this one is tricky. I'm using it because it involves stretching of these muscles. I'm holding phone in my hand so I can show you, sorry. So basically the knuckles are stretched out because fingers are stretched out too. And I want to make sure I'm releasing the note. Relax, relax, relax. If I have this is not relaxed. Right, I'll make sure. So if I'm gonna do this, am I releasing? What do you think? No, I'm not. There, I'm releasing now. And same thing happens with arpeggio. Is if you have an arpeggio, let's say like this, you're not going to hold your hand in this position. So you need to make sure you relax, release the previous note. And then in arpeggio, the reason I'm showing this because it's very visually apparent when I release, because this stretch disappears. I need to stretch for a second maybe, even if I need to. And then I'm compact. My hand becomes compact again. See? I need to stretch slightly here, but as soon as I do it, I remove. If I need to do it fast, I'm still doing the same thing, but faster. I'm not going to end in this position. There is no relax here. This is all tense. Here, relax. See what I mean? And I keep going. I can go as fast as I want. But I make sure I release. How can you notice if your fingers are not relaxed? Something like this. In different versions. Even if it's just one finger. So anything that resembles some kind of torturous position for your hand, that is definitely tension. And how to release it, you need to bring it back into this initial position where every finger can be picked up and dropped easily on its own with its own weight. Another one is where you have a release that looks like this. Or this is not released. This is released. Okay? It needs to happen naturally. If your fingers are still in this position, they're not relaxed. They're not released. There we go. With or without the wrist. If you're not releasing the wrist, you should still release your finger. So right now, my finger is released. My wrist is released now. Now my wrist is still active, but my fingers are still released. So this is the release that we need. The finger release without the wrist is what we need for multiple note on one gesture, something like this. Right? I'm gonna only release once the wrist towards the end, but each time I have to release each finger, but wrist is still engaged, right? If it's one scale, I'm releasing the wrist once, but I'm releasing each finger separately. Micro scale. Another indication that you still have tension is when your hand is still open in this position. It can't remain open and not be tense, right? Because you need to engage your muscles in order to keep it in this position. It's not natural. Natural will be like this, right? So if you're like this, you need to bring it back into this position.
All right, this is all for today's video. It was on a short side, which is probably good. I do hope I got my point across. And really the idea is to bring your attention to the point of release. That is as important as the attack or the weight transfer. And now that you can notice it, you will be aware and you will be able to fix it with no problem. I do hope you will do the exercises and it will be useful. And I will probably make more videos on this in the future. But simply because it's so under-mentioned in piano pedagogy, I just really believe that it will improve your control, your piano playing skills, the control over the key, over your movement, and really you will play on another level just because you have this knowledge and this awareness. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, for supporting my channel, for staying with me with my long breaks. I do apologize, and I will try to post more regularly, and let me know if you have any questions, and thank you so much for all your comments and support. Bye.